So, day of upper eyelid blepharoplasty, which is being done at 11 o'clock today in the Whitfield Clinic in Waterford under the expert hands of Dr Nikolina. So I came to Waterford last night actually so that I wouldn't get stuck in traffic at any point and add to the anxiety of getting here, looking for parking and so on. So I came to Waterford last night and settled in, had a lovely dinner, lovely breakfast this morning as well, and I'm being collected by taxi in about half an hour. So I will be really happy to get rid of these upper eyelids. I'd found that certainly over the last 2 years, and particularly when I lost weight, my face started to fall south, which I'm doing the best I can in relation to that. But my eyelids literally just got so saggy, and they sit on my upper eyelid. So by 9 o'clock in the evening time, I can barely keep my eyes open because as the day goes on, they get more swollen and they sit on top. So I just want to get rid of that tired look. Yes, it's a cosmetic treatment, to be honest, but it's also medical in the sense that in the evening times I had no quality of life. My eyes were just closing, and when I was driving in my car, I had to turn my head from side to side to see the traffic. I wasn't able to just glance from side to side. I literally was turning my head because it was so heavy here. Now I know there's people a lot worse than me, but as soon as it started to affect me, and as soon as I got the right contact with somebody that I know is going to look after me really well, I started to make inquiries and go for my consultation, and she absolutely agreed with me. Now, in relation to VHI, I'll talk to you about that. So my private health insurer is VHI, and Dr Nikolina explained to me that VHI are actually quite picky about covering clients who need to have an upper blepharoplasty because more and more people are having it done for cosmetic purposes. And I can see why, because if you're going around looking tired all the time, you actually start to get that energy. But then there are people who are have a medical reason to have it done. And she agreed with me in putting my case forward to the VHI that it was very necessary for me. My job, my eyes are very important to my job, as are my hands. So if my eyes aren't working very well, well then I can't do my job. So she made the case forward to VHI for me, and they agreed to cover it. So I think, having made many inquiries in relation to who I was going to choose, what surgeon I was going to choose to do my eyelids around the country, the average price to have your upper eyelids, now I'm only having my upper eyelids, my lower eyelids are fine so far, but it's $5,500. So I worked in Australia when I was in my 20s for 4 years in a private plastic hospital, and I am no stranger to this kind of work. But for anybody who doesn't know what it's about, it can be kind of a bit of a scary feeling. I worked in a St Luke's Hospital in Potts Point in Sydney, where it was all cosmetic surgery. So you'd have people who would have their upper eyelids done, lower eyelids done, lower facelift, upper neck lift, boob jobs, tummy tucks, and so on. And they used to come in from the bush, stay and have their jobs done, and then holiday in Sydney before they'd go back home, and they'd be all bruising all gone, swelling all gone, and so on. But I don't have that luxury. I'm back to work on Thursday, which is only in 3 days' time. So I'll probably look a bit of a sight. I only wanted to have my upper eyelids done because that's what's affecting me. I have seen lower eyelids done in my nursing career, But there is a small danger with the lower eyelids done, and that would be that you'd get an ectropion, which is where it could be done too tight and the eyelid would come away from the eye. And obviously what it's meant to do is to protect your eyes, and you don't want an ectropion where your eyelid is actually falling. Anyway, I'm fine. This is purely medical reasons. Cosmetic will be the added bonus, but thank God that VHI are covering it. Okay, this is me, literally 20 minutes after the treatment. Excuse the noise, I'm still at reception and I'm waiting for my taxi to take me back to the hotel. So she had, I'll tell you in more detail when I get back to the hotel because it's a bit noisy here, but she did the diathermy method as opposed to the scalpel method, and it was done in 20 minutes, I'd say 8 minutes per eye. The treatment itself took very short time. There was a lot of the whole washing your face, putting on the drapes and so on. It was the whole surgical procedure. I actually thought that I'd be on a dentist chair. It was a typical day only case. So admission was at 11. Doing all the nursey things, the checking in, blood pressure and all the rest, took until 11:30. I was in the theatre at 11:45. I was out of the theatre at 12:05. And then I went into recovery for tea and toast. And here I am, literally, what time is it? 1 o'clock. And I've just called my taxi to bring me to the hotel. So, okay. Back in the hotel, and this is me 4 hours after the treatment. So I had my tea and toast in recovery, and I called my taxi at 1 o'clock. He brought me to my hotel, and I'm in my pajamas. I've put on a bit of lipstick because obviously I wasn't able to wear any of those things or jewellery. It was a proper surgical day only procedure, and here I am 4 hours afterwards. Okay, so if I'm going to give you one tip, if you decide to do this, bring paracetamol or ibuprofen or both with you, so that when the topical or the local anaesthetic wears off, that you've started your pain relief orally. So I did that. I'm bathing them. I've given a sterile pack. I'll show you that here now. Leaving a goodie bag from theatres with sterile water, and ointment is to be put on twice a day for a week. So I feel absolutely terrific. There is no possible way that you could drive after this treatment. You have an eye wash done before you go into the theatres, and your face is painted with bethadine, which is a brown antiseptic. And it's only now that the blurring of my vision is returning. So you just can't rock up in your car and leave it in the car park and then decide that you'll be okay to drive home. You most certainly will not. I didn't have anybody to drive me home today, so I checked into a hotel, and it was just perfect. My taxi driver brought me here. It's a lovely room, and I'm happy to I closed my... When I got back, I had a cup of tea, and I actually had an hour's kip. So it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon now, so that's 4 hours after the treatment. And I'll give you a day-to-day update as to how it's going. Dr Nikolina had to do more work in one eye than the other one. It was this one actually. So this one looks a little bit more swollen. While she was doing the work, she said, "Oh, Olive, I think you're going to be a bruiser. I'm not sure that you're going to be able to work in 4 days' time. But if you really insist on working, maybe just use a concealer." Now, obviously, I wouldn't be able to use a concealer up here. I wear glasses anyway, so would anybody know? I doubt it, unless I told them. But the downside of upper blepharoplasty is that the blood supply comes in from here, and one branch goes up here and the other one goes down here. And she said, I might have a rather large bruise here tomorrow. So let's see. It is what it is, and I'm very pragmatic. So she is a believer, thankfully, in the power of arnica. Living in West Cork, we are the queen and kings of the alternatives here. Not a lot of medics would like it or even approve of it, but she was. So thankfully, in advance, I had gotten in touch with the homeopath in Dublin and asked them for arnica pilules, the 200 IUGs. I'd taken them 3 times a day for the previous 3 days. I took them before I went, and I have 2 more doses to take today, and I'll continue to take them for the duration of the week until I see her. So I'm hoping that that will help in relation to swelling and bruising. Now, bromelain is another thing which you can find naturally in pineapples, pineapple juice. Better to have the fruit. So I purchased one of those. I'll chomp on it later on, and I also have bromelain capsules as well. I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to get a fresh pineapple here in Waterford last night when I arrived, but I did, thankfully. And so those of you who are asking, there is a suture, one continuous suture from one side to the other, with the edge just peeking out here. And I'm to see her in a week's time to have that suture removed. She insists on removing her own suture, so that means another trip back to Waterford just to have the suture removed, and that's perfectly understandable. I worked in private plastics myself. I know how to remove the suture, but just in case that I end up with puckering, I'd be far happier for her to remove it anyway. And I think she's such a perfectionist, she wants to be able to see the work and to remove her own sutures. So that's in a week's time. All right, I'll update you again later on tonight and tomorrow.